Hello everyone. I wanted to give you the list of games that I'm keeping an eye on for the time being. It could change, but for now it's something I'm just going to keep my eye on. Obviously, I can't keep track of all games, but I can keep track of what may be potentially good. So, with that out of the way, I just want to quickly say that I'm really excited to see that Subnautica Below Zero is releasing on the 14th. That's when it will finally release. Well, at least the full release, anyways. It's been in early access, but full release is on the 14th, so I'm really excited to see that. Okay, so moving on. First one we got is Hood Outlaws and Legends. This one kind of gives me Assassin's Creed and Hunt Showdown vibes because, according to the trailer, the entire goal of this is to get into a castle, get the treasure, and extract it. Enemy players and also NPCs can stop you from doing this. They did mention there is an elite NPC called the Marshal. So you can see where I'm kind of getting these Hunt Showdown vibes a little bit, as well as Assassin's Creed, because the castle does have many entrances, as I said on the trailer. So there are plenty of different ways to get in said castle or get to said treasure. So it's worth keeping an eye on because it does seem like to me that it has a pretty good PvP element to it for those people who really like PvP. So that's Hood. Let's get to the next one. 9 to 5 is going to be kind of like the old SWAT games a little bit. It's kind of got that feel of like using different tools to accomplish the mission type of thing. But yeah, it's going to be a really weird one because it is going to be a PvP game, but it's a 3v3. So yeah, it's a little weird in that regard because most PvP games are going to be team versus team, not three different teams going after each other. But I will say that I do appreciate games that do think outside the box, I guess you can say. So we'll certainly see where this thing goes. It's too early for me to really see what is going on with it. I remember watching one YouTube video where they said that there's only 2 or 3 maps right now. So yeah, it's not really in a good state for me to be able to say much on it. Okay, moving on. Ground Branch is supposedly going to be one of the more realistic shooters, military sims, for this year. Apparently, it's an early access, and who knows when full launch will be. But yeah, its current state is doing pretty well for an early access. It's not likely you'll find matches because the player base is too small, but they do have plenty of guns, certainly more than 9 to 5. So you can get a pretty good idea of what this game is about. One other bonus of 9 to 5, or I'm sorry, Ground Branch, is that it is actually capable of being played on Linux. You can see that it's gold on Linux, so that's really awesome to see that this game can be played there as well. So if you don't want to use Windows, you can certainly do that. Moving on to Enlisted. Enlisted has been around for a little while, but it recently concluded a beta for PlayStation 5. It's also doing some other things right now. So it's really interesting to see this game grow and or expand. The game is actually really interesting so far, so I'm curious to see as to what it will look like after they're done with all their tests and content updates and things like that. So, yes, we'll certainly see where this goes. Oh, and by the way, this is a free-to-play one, so that's another reason it has my attention, because on top of it having Battlefield vibes, it is actually free-to-play, which is really awesome to see. Free-to-play games are certainly rare, and I understand why. They're certainly harder to maintain, because you're entirely dependent on either ads or in-game items, for the money. So, but either way, we'll see where Enlisted goes. As you probably suspected, I am keeping an eye on Diablo II Resurrected because Diablo II is a legend of a game. It was one of the best for its time. So, I am a little concerned that when it does get its remaster, that Blizzard will screw it up. As we saw with the Warcraft 3 Reforged, they definitely screwed things up there. So I'm hoping they don't do the same thing with Diablo. But knowing Blizzard and Activision, it's one of those things you just have to expect. So for that reason, I am interested to see if they don't screw up or they do screw up. We'll see which one of the two it is and go from there. Okay, the next one is The Day Before. This is supposedly going to be a zombie MMO survival game. Apparently, it will be hardcore in that there will be weather elements that will affect you. So if it's cold weather, then obviously your character will get too cold at some points. If you're thirsty or hungry, those are all part of this game, which is really interesting to see for an MMO. MMOs are a little bit harder to do than single-player games with this kind of stuff, from what I've seen. It will certainly be interesting if they can pull it off, but I don't know if they can. I did some looking into the company behind this, and they haven't really made a lot of games. The last game they did make, they pulled off of Steam and their website because it did so bad. So that doesn't bode well, but their other games seem to have done okay. But yeah, so we'll see where this goes because it certainly could be very interesting. They did mention that in one of the YouTube videos that this would have a focus on PvP. So this would be kind of like Hood, if that's the case, in which it would be great for those people who really love their PvP. But yep, again, we'll see where things go. And then obviously we've got Chivalry II, another classic of the day. Chivalry II is about to go into closed beta for people who have pre-ordered. So there isn't any mention if there's going to be an NDA for this closed beta. If there is an NDA, then that means we won't be seeing any streams or recordings of it, but maybe in the future we will once they lift the NDA. Perhaps the NDA will be lifted before the full release of this game. So, yeah, pretty interested to see what happens, because I really did like Chivalry 1, just like I like Diablo 2, so, you know, you can only hope for the best. Then obviously I'm paying attention to Back 4 Blood. It got pushed back to October because the devs apparently needed more time to polish it out, which is fine if that's the case and if they manage to do it successfully. I'm all for waiting if it means ironing out things. So it's not like I've got plenty of other things to do like Subnautica and other things. Yeah, so I can only hope the best for these devs. And then we have Battlefield. Battlefield is apparently coming out this year, from as far as I can tell with all the reading and YouTube videos. If that's true, then awesome. I haven't seen a Battlefield in a very long time, and I did like some of the older Battlefields. I am interested to see if they can do things right. Certainly a lot better than COD would be a start, but we'll see what happens. So that's really all I can say on it until more is, given. We got 2 more games on this list, but I see I failed to pull the tabs for that, but we'll go ahead and just move on with that. So, Gord has also got my attention, in large part because it seems to be an out-of-the-box game, and on top of that, it's being made by ex-developers from CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red had a lot of good people in their company before they left, or abandoned ship, if you will, because things really did go sideways with Cyberpunk. I was really disappointed to see that because it had a lot of potential for a game, but it is what it is. So the devs that, I guess, abandoned ship just decided to make their own game. We'll see what happens with Gord. There's not really going to be any information on this for the time being, as it's not slated to release until sometime 2022. All the other games I just showed you will be releasing this year, and I'll put a brief description for each of these games in the video description for you. The 2 games that I did not have on this list was Warhammer 40k, Darktide, and oh crap, I forgot the other one. Oh well, it is what it is. I'll put it in the description if I remember. But Warhammer 40k Darktide is supposedly going to be the successor to Vermintide 2. I think Vermintide 2 could have done a lot better, but I overall liked the few elements of the game that did really well. I think one of the things that Vermintide 2 could have done is maybe handle the careers or classes, if you will, a little bit better. I really think that they shouldn't have put Grail Knight on Kruber. I think that Grail Knight should have been its own class so that there would be 3 choices with that. I think one could have been Blood Knight, and maybe the other one could have been Hermit Knight. Hermit Knight could have been like the support version of that. Grail Knight could have been, well, what we see now. And Blood Knight could have been like the sacrifice health for damage type of class, like the high risk, high reward type of class. That would have been really cool to see. You know, it's just little things like that. I think they could have done a lot better. But yeah, for the most part, Vermintide 2 did okay. So I will definitely keep an eye on Darktide 2. So yeah, other than Gord, everything should be out this year, or at least progressing this year. But that's all I have, and that's all I can really say until more information is given. Thanks for listening.